While Jay Z is being exposed for all these terrible things, it's affecting Beyonce a lot, and it's not a good look for her. Now, we all know that Jay Z has been friends with Diddy for years. They became friends in the 90s and they collaborated on multiple projects together. They became two of the biggest names in the music industry as they each had their own labels. Diddy founded Bad Boy Entertainment, launched in 1993, and Jay Z's Rockefeller Records, founded a year later. Now, surprisingly though, there was no rivalry among the two rappers, who remained supportive of each other's work. Now, from there, their bond just grew. After a photo of Diddy and Jay Z chatting it up during his birthday party was showcased at the Rock and Roll of Hip Hop exhibition, Diddy opened up about his friendship with the fellow rapper and said, "That was one of my birthday parties and I was just telling him I appreciate him coming." He further added he was on tour and he flew in private after one of his shows just to come to the party, then he had to fly back out. "I was just telling him how much I appreciate it and how much I value our friendship. People see us as competitors and different icons in the hip hop game, but that was just a moment of two black brothers telling each other how much they appreciate each other." Their bond was strong, and Jay Z even got Beyonce involved in the friendship. Now, the power couple would be seen at a bunch of Diddy's parties, where they would even debut some of their new music there. I mean, in the past couple of years, they were still praising each other in the public, as Diddy was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2022 BET Awards. Jay Z paid a special tribute to him with a video. Now, with their friendship on full display, it shocked people that Jay Z nor Beyonce spoke up when Diddy's houses were raided in March or when he was arrested in September. Now, some people called this out, like 50 Cent. He posted a picture of the rapper's face on a milk carton with the words "missing" on Instagram and added in the caption, "Anybody seen Jay? LOL," joking he ain't been answering his phone. Now, many people were waiting for Jay Z to speak up, and because he didn't, people started to suspect that he had something to do with the crimes Diddy committed. I mean, they partied and were together a lot. This would certainly be plausible. Now, we finally got the answer on December 8th, as Jay Z was named in a refiled lawsuit against Diddy. Now, the general public knew about this lawsuit in October, but new details emerged that placed Jay Z as a perpetrator of the crime committed alongside Diddy. The anonymous accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, said the incident happened after she was driven to an MTV Video Music Awards afterparty in the year 2000. After the awards, she was driven to a White House where she had to sign an NDA. There, she said she was offered a drink that made her feel woozy, lightheaded, and it felt like she needed to lie down, so she went into a room to rest. Shortly afterwards, the suit says Diddy and Jay Z entered the room, with Diddy saying, "You're ready to party." That's when she alleges she was taken advantage of by both men, while an unnamed female celebrity watched. Now, could that female celebrity be Beyonce? Just maybe. Now, after the alleged incident, the suit says Jane Doe grabbed her clothes and left. She made her way to a gas station where she called her father. Now, this sounds extremely real, as a former party planner for Diddy, who worked for him during 2004 and 2005 and wished to remain anonymous, spoke to some news outlets about the disgraced musicians' parties. They stated that women attending these parties were subjected to weight checks. We would do a weigh-in if necessary. The girls had to be young and hot, so I always had a scale nearby in case I needed to make sure. The number was 140 pounds, but if a girl was really tall, there was a little bit of discretion involved, said the planner, adding that the other requirements included no flab, no cellulite, not overly pierced or tattooed, and no short hair. Now, seems like this Jane Doe fit the description of exactly what Diddy wanted. It was also revealed that Diddy would make people sign NDAs to attend his parties. A document released showed that guests were issued strict rules on discussing Diddy, his associates, and any activities or individuals present at his events. The NDA reportedly forbade guests from sharing any information about Diddy, his family members, current or former partners, or friends. Now, under the agreement, attendees were restricted from taking photos, filming, or recording anything at these events without his written consent. Now, something that makes these NDAs quite unique is that it's enforceable for either 70 years or the artist's lifetime plus an additional 20 years, whichever is longer. Now, this is a duration that is far exceeding standard NDAs. Now, Jay Z was actually spotted the day after the lawsuit was filed. Jay attended the premiere of a movie with Beyonce where their daughter Blue Ivy voiced one of the characters. It was the first time Jay Z had been spotted in public since the accusations, and sources with direct knowledge told the Post that before the allegations, it was rumored that Jay Z and Beyonce were not planning on going to the premiere. However, they appear to have a change of heart after the lawsuit. Beyonce forced Jay Z to go to the premiere last night, an insider told DailyMail.com. They're working with a crisis specialist who's advising them on how to handle this. Beyonce believes that the best way is to face it head on. Blue Ivy is well aware of what's going on and is intent on supporting her father in any way she can. She was there in solidarity with her dad and mom. Beyonce will do anything she can to keep their family together, but is also concerned that more women might come forward with lies. So it seems like Beyonce is standing with her husband, but this just makes her look really bad and even guilty. Like mentioned before, she had attended plenty of Diddy parties herself. Now, Beyoncé and Jay Z once attended one of Diddy's New Year's Eve parties, and the couple spent time with Diddy ringing in the new year of 2014 in Miami. Now, the weird thing is there are articles about them being there, but all the photos of the night have disappeared. Strange, right? Well, in one article, it said that Jay Z and Beyonce were off in a corner dancing and greeting people, an insider said. Drake came with a posse of friends and took over the turntables, and T.I. and Jamie Foxx were chatting and hanging out during the event. Pharrell Williams was also in attendance, the source adds. Now, it was reported that Beyonce wasn't wearing any pants, and that some people say she was later seen in the swimming pool, looking dazed and confused. It's just strange all around, and the couple also attended the music mogul's 50th birthday party in 2019. But we've been told by insiders that these parties are not what they seem, and that a lot of messed up things happen at them. Former music industry insider Tom Swoop had attended a couple of the parties, and he shared with the public what would happen behind the scenes. He broke down how the parties worked for viewers and claimed that the parties were separated into tiers of access. There was general admission, then a series of tiers ending with entrance to the inner circle, where the real partying went on. Now, this allegedly included humiliating male and female guests on the promise of record deals or money. Yeah, now why does this kind of sound like a cult or some sort of ritual? Ugh, I do not like it. Now, Tom went on to say that there were a lot of substances present and that Diddy played a horrible so-called joke on a young artist. He said Diddy wanted the artist to do a certain act, and if he did it, Diddy would give him $100,000 and a record deal, before claiming it was a joke when the young artist was about to do it. Tom claimed Diddy told him, "I can make anybody do anything because this life is what they want, and I got the keys to the castle." Now, Tom didn't like any of this though, so he left the party thinking, if this what goes on behind the curtain and you're all comfortable with this, nah, I don't want this life. He added there were so many celebrities there who were cool with who he was and what he did to entertain them. It's not isolated, he added. You all need to think of everybody when you think of him and the access and the amount of people who were there. So it seems like Jay Z was cool with all this going on. But what about Beyonce? Is she just wrapped up in this, or did she actively participate in it?
What is Beyonce hiding from us? It's time to expose evil lies that reveal the truth. Did Beyonce fake her pregnancy? When Beyonce was pregnant with daughter Blue Ivy Carter, so many rumors began spreading that she faked her pregnancy with a fake belly and had enlisted a surrogate to carry the child. A particular video, however, went insanely viral, like literally overnight. A video of Beyonce's high-definition interview with Australia's Sunday Night HD surfaced online. This interview would have been, on record as the most boring interview of all time had it not been for the one moment at the start of the sit-down when Beyonce took a seat and her bump, did something entirely different and kind of unnatural. So to explain, when she sits down, you can see her stomach deflating and folding in on itself. The stills and slow-mos of the disappearing bump were circulated online as people questioned, what was happening? Now, was Beyonce wearing, different sized bellies to throw off the press as to how far along she was? Had she and Jay Z, gone the surrogate route and her, deflating baby bump proved it? Or was it something else entirely that can or can't be so easily explained? Beyonce's publicist, Yvette Noel Schur, was quick with it. She shot down the conspiracy theories almost immediately, telling E! News that, websites, blogs, and rumors suggesting that Jay Z's wife is wearing a prosthetic or otherwise faking her baby bump are simply foolish and outlandish. Beyonce addressed it literally only once, saying that was crazy. It wasn't even hurtful, it was just crazy. Where do they come up with this stuff? Meanwhile, her mother, Tina Knowles, took the talk like very personally. She went on to say, I thought it was very unfair and very cruel that someone would think that someone would be that diabolical to keep up a charade like that for 9 months. As a mother, it was painful for me to hear the crazy rumors, and I even had people ask me, which was so ridiculous. The only thing they could say about why it looked like her belly folded is that it must have been the fabric. One critic online pointed out that Beyonce has been so secretive about her pregnancy, and that the only footage of her actually being pregnant was super grainy and like not clear at all. Some fans, came to her defense saying that there was a pic of her on the beach, in a bikini, but honestly, the photo of her in the bikini, if she was pregnant, looked like she would have been about like 4 months or less. So basically people were saying, the photo doesn't actually prove that she was actually pregnant. There were just so many conspiracy theories regarding why she might be lying. Many people thought she didn't want to like ruin her figure, by being pregnant. Some people suspected maybe she couldn't have children of her own, and some thought, her and Jay were maybe adopting. However, none of this truly mattered when her daughter was actually brought into the world. Blue Ivy was born at Lenox Hill Hospital in Manhattan, New York on January 7th, 2012. Her and Jay actually reportedly bought out the whole floor at the hospital in order to have privacy, even making people who, were already there leave. But that's another story for another time. All in all, this whole circus made Beyonce a lot more open with her second pregnancy when she had twins Rumi and Sir. Personally, I think she didn't want the same, accusations and theories to surface again, so she kind of just said, y'all ain't playing with me today. You want a bump? Here it is. Is Beyonce lying about her age? There have been several moments that have made people question whether or not Beyonce is lying about her age. Matthew Knowles, her father, continues to use his daughter's name as a means, to staying newsworthy. This time though, it's adding fuel to the fire, or to the rumor mill, that the superstar is actually lying about her age. In an interview with Power 105.1's The Breakfast Club, Knowles, her father, says that Pink, the singer, is the exact same age as Beyonce. Pink, however, is 45, and Beyonce is, according to her, 43. Beyonce's age has been, a source of speculation for years, complete with alleged birth certificate leaks and, celebrity sources. Gabrielle Union, who is 9 years older than Beyonce, has said they were friends when they were teenagers, and apparently they even went to high school together, but the math ain't mathing there. While the difference between Pink and Beyonce are only like a measly 2 years, by the time you're like closing down on 50, those years, apparently seem to matter. So, fudging the numbers early on makes it a little easier to simply stop at 43 and refuse to age any further. It's as if, as a performer, you were to reach 50, you'd stop being considered for parts or shows, which, let's be honest, that isn't actually true in today's day and age, because just look at Jennifer Lopez. Like, she's in her 50s, she's still performing, headlining, you know what I mean? Or the other worry I would imagine most women up in age would be concerned about would be whether you'd be vilified for like gallivanting in a leotard or like a bodysuit, like a one piece, whatever scandalous type of outfit you might have worn in your 20s. Basically, for being confident about your body. Taylor Swift does it, it's, girl power, but if Madonna does it, it's like supposed to be shameful, So at least that's how society wants us all to view it. Beyonce has lied many times about writing her own music. Beyonce has claimed to be, the creative vision and songwriter behind some of her most successful songs, and there was no room for argument, that she was one of the most talented singer-songwriters to be a part of the music industry, and still is. But when rumors began to swirl that there were holes in the stories Beyonce told about writing her music, fans were shocked. They wondered if Beyonce truly did write all the songs she claimed to, or if she was fabricating. Now, there have been several times when songwriters or celebrities have had negative things to say and called Beyonce out in the press for taking credit for being the creative force behind her songs that have become hits. This is not to say, that the Run the World singer does not put her own spin vocally on tracks to take them places other artists could not, all while having an insane work ethic, but taking full credit for something that there was clearly a collaboration on led fans to do some digging. And when they did, they found several times when Beyonce claimed to be the sole writer or had the inspiration for a song, when that was clearly false. One person on Reddit actually rounded up like a number of examples, which include Emotions, which is actually a Bee Gees cover, Survivor, with the actual songwriter sued and settled out of court, Bow Down, which was allegedly written for Rihanna, Bootylicious, the demo was apparently near complete when, it got to Destiny's Child, and one of Beyonce's biggest songs, Irreplaceable, which apparently was actually written written by Neo. Now what's funny about that one is that Beyonce went on to say, I'm sure people think I wrote it about Jay Z or something, but the obvious person is not the person at all. Several years later though, Neo claimed to have penned the song himself. Had he not thought the song was too misogynistic, he explained he would have actually kept it for himself. He said, that song taught me a very interesting lesson. Many women don't think that differently. However, a man singing it comes across a little mean. So, you know, with many discrepancies coming up in interviews over the years when Beyonce has claimed to be the driving force behind many of her hits, it is easy to see why fans wonder how much Beyonce has written herself, what she has collaborated on, and what songs were just written for her. There's no denying the talent Beyonce has, and no one is discrediting, you know, her vocal and performance abilities, but many fans and critics alike think that she should give all the credit, not just to herself. In fact, you know, it's just a song that maybe she's collabed on with one person, you know, online even saying, unless Beyonce specifically came up with an idea for a song or contributed vocals to it, she should call herself an artist instead. Another person chimed in and said, for some reason we have this idea that singers have to also write their own music to be considered artists, but telling a story with your voice and entertaining people with your performance is a whole other skill set. I think at the end of the day, just give credit where it's due to avoid these type of, you know, controversies, or stay as low-key as possible and don't extend your part. Jay Z's evil past is back to haunt him. Today we unpack lies, paternity tests, bad checks, and more. Jay Z and R. Kelly have worked together on 2 joint albums, Best of Both Worlds and Unfinished Business. They even went on tour together for the Best of Both Worlds tour, which was supposed to take place in 2002, but was pushed back to 2004 after allegations surfaced. Now, usually an artist working with another artist is not a cause for concern, but it is when the other artist is R. Kelly. So to give you some background, for more than 2 decades, chart-topping R&B singer R. Kelly had faced allegations of SA. Now, the accounts went back to the start of his career in the 1990s, with many centering on the predatory pursuit of young women. Now, in 1994, R. Kelly married Aaliyah, who was underage at the time, and Aaliyah lied about her age on the wedding certificate, listing herself as an adult. The marriage was annulled in February of 1995, but fast forward to 2002, Kelly was sued by Patrice Jones, a Chicago woman who claimed he got her pregnant when she was underage and she was forced to forego the pregnancy. Now, another woman by the name of Montina Woods also sued Kelly, alleging that he videotaped them being intimate without her knowledge. The recording was allegedly circulated on a tape sold by bootleggers under the title R. Kelly XXX. R. Kelly was later charged with 21 counts of making SA videos. He immediately denied the charges and pleaded not guilty in court. Now, during the time all of this was going on, R. Kelly was out on bail, releasing music videos, and yes, going on tour with Jay Z. Jay Z knew what was happening, was aware of the accusations, and still decided to continue not only his professional relationship with Kelly, but also his personal. Now, they stayed close friends, and in an interview back then when it was happening, Jay Z said, if he's guilty, I hope he gets help. If he's innocent, I hope people stand by him and apologize. That didn't age well. Now, the singer settled both cases out of court, paying undisclosed sums in return for non-disclosure agreements. Now, in 2021, R. Kelly was convicted, and in 2022, he was jailed for 30 years after being found guilty of 8 counts of racketeering and other charges in a New York court. R. Kelly was very recently sentenced to an additional 20 years, and now with this coming up, it has drawn more attention to Jay Z because many people have said Jay Z is just as predatory as R. Kelly and did to Beyonce what Kelly did to Aaliyah. The only difference is that Jay hit it better. There's demand from several people online wanting Jay Z's past to be more carefully looked at through another lens now, especially since he's at the center of a new SA lawsuit that involves Diddy. Foxy Brown, let's talk about it. It has been reported many times that Jay Z had an inappropriate relationship with Foxy Brown. They met in the mid-90s and they began collaborating on music projects. Now, she was apparently very young when they met and he was in his 20s, and in 1995 they recorded a song together that was extremely inappropriate for a young woman to be recording. It was explicit, talked about intimate acts, and just wasn't something anyone should be privy to at that age. Fast forwarding to the fall of 2024, Foxy Brown addressed relationship rumors with Jay Z in a series of Instagram story posts. So Foxy Brown attempted to debunk rumors that she and Jay Z had an intimate relationship when she was younger. Brown initially posted tweeted and addressed a screenshot of a tweet alleging Jay made her sign an NDA, among other things, calling it fake news. She wrote, "Miss me with that fake news, NDA and an MF alive could stop my story." She then posted a screenshot of a YouTube video saying she's breaking her silence about Jay Z and references one of her IG stories where she tells someone, "My story will shock you to your core. I don't play victim, but I had to step away for a minute for my sanity or I would have been gone. Stop playing with my name." She then added, "Comprehension is a lost art and y'all want me to be anti-host so bad." Rumors of their relationship actually date back to 2001 when rapper Nas mentioned their alleged relationship on his diss song Ether. Now, jumping forward to the recent allegations against Jay Z and Diddy with the SA lawsuit from a Jane Doe, Foxy Brown appeared online again, suddenly weighing in on the accusations, sharing her Instagram stories saying, "Wow," and "Wait," with a shocked face emoji. Her third and final post was just a cold blue face emoji. Now, although Foxy has not confirmed that her posts are about Jay Z and Diddy being accused of essaying a young woman at an MTV Video Music Awards party in 2000, many people are led to believe and speculate that it is, because at this point, what else would make Foxy react online that way? Bad business practices. Was Jay Z writing bad checks? Well, in 2003, reports claim that two companies filed separate lawsuits against Jay Z's nightclub that was named 4040 for a total of $46,000 in unpaid bills, claiming they received rubber checks from 21's Inc., which is Jay's company. Now, one company named Ronald Mark Associates was hired to create 30 custom tables that cost him $18,000. Apparently, Jay only put $5,000 down and the company was owed the rest, being about $13,000, but Jay never paid. Ron Berkowitz, a spokesperson for the Club 4040, downplayed the allegations, claiming that the bouncing checks are a burn wrap, whatever that means. It was reported that club employees were ducking phone calls, and that lawsuit was actually settled for about $1,114.59 to be exact on November 2nd, 2003. Jay-Z tried to countersue, saying the tables were not ready in time, so they weren't going to pay the full amount. Regardless, the West 25th Street nightclub 4040, which was actually named after baseball's biggest achievement, so players who hit 40 home runs and stole 40 bases in one season, survived and actually thrived. It has been a standout lounge with luxurious decor, sports memorabilia, and guests have enjoyed upscale bar cuisine and drinks. Now, unfortunately, if this has made you want to visit, think again, because after nearly 2 decades in business, in 2023, they closed its OG location. So many people actually believe that Jay Z was the reason for them closing, saying his past has come back to bite him. But apparently that's not why. And although no real reason has been given to why they closed, they actually do plan to reopen at a new location in 2025, so keep your eyes peeled for that if overpriced pub food and underpoured drinks are your thing. Now, Jay-Z's love children. Yes, aside from the 3 offspring he shares with Beyonce, let's talk about the others that are not so loved. Back in 2010, rumors circulated that Jay-Z had hooked up with an adult film star named Jasmine Cashmere. A few months later, Jasmine's friend were spreading news of a pregnancy, saying that Jay was the father. Now, Jasmine actually took to Twitter to deny the accusation, saying, "No, I am not pregnant by Jay Z or any rapper from New York." Jay-Z also made a public statement as well, saying that he and Jasmine had never even crossed paths. It was supposedly a friend, however, that tipped off the news, saying that Jay had paid Jasmine $2.5 million to just disappear. The news outlet, being the National Enquirer, was able to confirm that the star, being Jasmine, bought a new house around that exact same time. And no one has bothered Jay since the alleged payout, so is that a coincidence? I think not. There was another rumor that Jay Z has another child with Trinidadian model Chanel Scott. Back in 2002, Jay and Chanel had an open relationship while she was actually seeing another man. And so it was assumed that her child was her boyfriend's, but as her son grew up, the man rejected him as his own because the boy looked nothing like him. He actually looked like Jay Z. And after a paternity test confirmed that Jay is the father, he did step up and took responsibility. He bought Chanel and his son a nice home in Trinidad dad gave them $1 million. He also pays child support monthly, so that's good. And so yeah, it's safe to say Beyonce knows about this one, as we all do now. And apparently they are actually still friends who keep in contact. She said Jay is a good father, and one of Chanel's friends said, you know, it was a big ol' mess at one time, but I think once they resolved the issue of fatherhood, paternity, things started to level off. Funny enough, representatives at the time for Jay Z had actually come out and said initially, there's no truth to these ridiculous rumors. People should be ashamed of using this kind of story and exploiting a child for publicity and ratings. But wait, there's more. One of Jay Z's former friend claimed in 2022 that Jay has a secret adult daughter that resides in a home that Jay Z purchased for her in Cambridge, Maryland, and that he pays her bills but allegedly does not allow her to put pictures of him around her house as part of their deal. Her name is Letitia Macer, who is now 34 years old. Now, she came out and claimed she is Jay Z's secret daughter and shows DNA proof to support her claims. Jay Z apparently used to date her mom Lisa back in the day, and Letitia was born in the early 90s, which makes sense. Now, she was quoted saying, "I've been quiet for far too long. Join me as I tell you my story of living in the shadows of being Jay Z's daughter in a city where everyone knew he was my father. There's no way he can deny anything, especially when there were people that were there that knew him." Lisa's sister Terry even wrote a Facebook post, like a story, saying, "I know the story from start to finish. I hooked your mother and father up years ago." She said her and Lisa actually called Jay up on the phone to tell him about his daughter Letitia, and his exact words were, "Do you know how many women call here daily and say Jay Z the baby daddy?" Anyway, Letitia apparently spends her days posting old photos on Instagram and videos that are to convince the public that she is Jay's daughter. And so I went on to go do some digging because I wanted to see what her Instagram was all about. Firstly, let me tell you, her Instagram handle is at Jay Z's first daughter. I don't know, I thought that was kind of funny. Like, if to the point was a person, it would be her. Now, anyway, I didn't get far because her account is set to private, which is odd considering her goal here, so womp womp. But maybe she'll accept my request to follow, and then I'll come back and I'll let you guys know what's going on there. Now, with all the recent controversy surrounding Jay Z right now, it's reported she has more to say and doesn't plan on keeping quiet at all.
Beyonce appears to be distancing herself from her husband, Jay Z. While Beyonce initially stood by her husband's side after he was accused of committing a serious, horrible crime with his friend Diddy in the year 2000, a source told RadarOnline.com that Beyonce has now begun to distance herself from her husband's legal woes as a way to protect her image. Now, an insider said, "It's not a good look and Beyonce's in a nightmare situation. There's not one area of her world that Jay isn't involved in, but already she's taking steps to protect herself, her reputation, and her kids' futures. It's why she made it clear he won't be joining her on her upcoming tour." Now, still, the source claimed Beyonce is not going to walk away just yet. They continued by saying she has to again give him the benefit of the doubt, but this time it's hard. She's barely had time to start patching up the damage done from the Becky saga, so she still has trust issues with him. This scandal really couldn't have come at a worse time for their already fragile marriage. Now, despite the anonymous accuser known as Jane Doe in her filing dropping her lawsuit, Jay Z said he continues to face backlash over her malicious and fictitious claim, which he has denied over and over again. Just a couple weeks ago, he filed a lawsuit against Jane Doe and her attorneys, Anthony Busby and David Fortney, calling her original filing false, malicious, strategically and tactically calculated, and timed to inflict maximum pain and suffering on Mr. Carter. Now, the lawsuit goes on to call the attorneys soullessly motivated by greed, in abject disregard of the truth and the most fundamental precepts of human decency. Now, even though this Jane Doe has dropped the lawsuit, it doesn't mean that Jay is innocent, and this appears to be something that Beyonce is starting to realize. When the allegations first came to light, Beyonce brought Jay Z to the premiere of her and her daughter's film. Now, this raised a lot of the eyebrows at the time, as sources with direct knowledge told the Post that before the allegations, it was rumored that Jay Z and Beyonce were not planning to attend the premiere. However, they appear to have a change of heart after the lawsuit. Beyonce forced Jay Z to go to the premiere last night, an insider told DailyMail.com at the time. They are working with a crisis specialist who is advising them on how to handle this. Beyonce believes that the best way is to face it head on, and that's what they did. Now, Disney, though, had other feelings, as an insider revealed that there was hesitation on Disney's side regarding the best way to handle it, given the events from the lawsuit. Now, at the end of the day, it was Beyonce's call. They allowed her to decide how she thought was best to handle the situation. That's how much Disney trusts and values her. They added, and the way she wanted to handle it was to smile, put on a united front by standing by her man, but also to celebrate her daughter. They were originally scheduled to do interviews on the carpet. However, after the lawsuit was filed and came to light, it was quickly decided on by both sides that there would be no interviews, only photos. Although Beyonce hasn't publicly commented on everything going on with her husband, it's not too hard to imagine how difficult this must be for her. I mean, her and Jay have gone through so many scandals during their relationship, especially when Jay Z cheated on her. She learned to forgive him for that, but now he's turned around and done something horrible again. She has to think about herself and protect her kids, so who knows if their marriage will last. And like mentioned before, Beyonce is going on tour soon, and she's not bringing Jay Z with her. But honestly, some space between the two could be a good thing, and it will allow Beyonce to focus on giving her fans the best show, as fans were up in arms about the prices, as they're almost double the price as last time. Now, a lot of fans didn't even get tickets to Beyonce's tour because the prices made them inaccessible, with some people saying the tickets cost more than a month of rent, which is honestly just insane, by the way, since Beyonce is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. She doesn't need all this money. Then, Beyonce's mom just exposed a secret about her. In a recent Instagram post, Tina wrote, "Beyonce decided not to continue acting in movies." Yes, she's done voice acting like in the Lion King films, but it seems like she will never physically return to the screen. Tina revealed this while reflecting on Bey's role as Etta James in Cadillac Records. Sharing a clip of Beyonce performing Etta's I'd Rather Go Blind, Tina wrote, "Just came across this in my feed. I listened to it several times. This is still one of my favorite movies, and it makes me miss the fact that my child decided to not continue with movies. She killed it in this movie." Tina continued, adding that Beyonce also unselfishly donated her salary to the Phoenix House, which is a group of rehabilitation centers. Beyonce noticeably spent her time there while preparing to play Etta, who had battled an addiction during her career. "Wow, this is such a subtle way of telling us we're never gonna see her on our big screens again," one person wrote in the comments. "Please tell her to get back on set," another begged. "We need that EGOT," someone else said. So it seems like we shouldn't expect to see Beyonce physically on the big screen ever again. Now, someone who is a secret fan of Beyonce is none other than King Charles. Yeah. During his Apple Music One radio special, The King's Room, which was released on March 10th, he revealed that her 2003 hit Crazy in Love featuring her husband Jay Z made his playlist. Now, before going into the song, Charles noted, "I'd like to congratulate her for winning her first Album of the Year Grammy." Now, Charles praised her as a musician and a supporter of the King's Trust charity. "First, from a performer so exceptional, I just couldn't resist including her music," Charles said. She performed this song at the Prince's Trust Fashion Rocks concert in Royal Albert Hall in 2003. Now, the King's Trust International is turning 10 years old this year, and as I mentioned earlier, the renamed King's Trust UK will reach its 50th anniversary next year, he said. "I wanted to include an iconic musical moment from the many events which have supported my trust work for young people all over these years. Here is one of the Trust's most faithful supporters, the incomparable Beyonce, with her song Crazy in Love." So, there you have it. King Charles is a part of the Beyhive. Now, Beyonce's fans weren't just upset about the ticket prices for her new tour though. Oh no. Just a couple days after the Ticketmaster war her fans went through, an ad for her new perfume dropped, but it sparked another major online debate about the product's price. Now, the singer launched the product with an Instagram photo, and the caption announced the perfume's name, Sa Lumiere. Now, soon after, commenters dropped negative remarks and trolled the singer while joking about being being broke. A full comment stated, "Read the room, Beyonce, we are broke." And another user wrote how she may not break our soul, but you break our wallets. Now the perfume is being sold on her website for $160 USD, and that's not including taxes or shipping. Now this is a product that a lot of fans couldn't justify getting, and I totally understand it. Beyonce seems to have many different products and companies, and buying everything would be so expensive. Like, did you know that Beyonce has a hair care line? Yep, well, in an interview in February, Cynthia Erivo revealed that she actually uses Beyonce's hair care line. Now, this made people confused as, well, Cynthia, she has a shaved head. Fans tweeted things like, "Is the hair in the room with us?" and "She don't even have hair." Now, Cynthia later clarified though that she uses a hair oil from Beyonce's hair care line that keeps everything good after she shaves. Now, some fans came to her defense though, with them saying, "Bald scalps still need moisturizer and other care products to maintain a smooth, healthy scalp, and it's to moisturize her scalp, y'all, OMG." But hey, whatever works for you, girl.
Jay Z and Beyonce's past is back to haunt them. Resurfaced red flags expose them like never before. Jay Z and Diddy were once referred to as hip-hop royalty to this day, and despite all the controversies, many still give them that title. The rappers both rose to fame in the 90s and have maintained a very close friendship over the years. After both beating jail time in 1999 for their involvement in separate crimes, the duo are now facing more legal allegations. In 2024, a woman accused the rap legends of essaying her at a house party in 2000 when she was just a young woman. Now, both Combs and Jay have denied the allegations, but was the 1999 incident just a big red flag for worse to come? In December of 1999, Jay was arrested and charged with attacking Lance Riviera during a heated argument in a Manhattan nightclub. Lance is a record producer and music executive who began his musical career when he met neighborhood rapper Christopher Wallace, better known as Biggie Smalls. After hearing Biggie perform, Rivera offered to finance his musical career, and that opened the door to more connections in the industry. Jay Z turned himself into the police for the incident and was placed under arrest before being released on $50,000 bail. Jay initially pleaded not guilty, but later copped out to third-degree battery in exchange for 3 years probation. In his 2010 book, Decoded, Jay spoke about the incident, admitting that he angrily approached Rivera but wasn't responsible for the attack. Now, fast forward to May 2023, Rivera said Jay was not the one who attacked him, telling DJ Vlad, "I don't know where people got Jay-Z attacked me from, because if anybody knows Jay-Z, Jay-Z's a nice guy." He went on to say, "I ended up getting surrounded by a bunch of people. It was probably like 10 weapons that I knew of, and I ended up getting hurt." Rivera confirmed that Jay-Z was there and that they had a conversation right before he got hit in the head with a champagne bottle. Now, many fans have speculated whether Jay was really responsible or if Rivera lied back then or is maybe lying now. Now, one friend at the party, Chris Scotti, he said that he thought Jay punched Rivera and was actually shocked to see it. However, many people think that Rivera is getting paid now to say Jay actually never did it, and that saying things like Jay is a really nice guy is a way to help Jay's image right now, since it's been quite damaged recently. So some people have even speculated that Jay's paid Rivera to say these things now. Rivera has said for the record that everyone who was there has a different story on what actually happened, but only me and Jay know what really went on. To me, that kind of leaves things unanswered. Like, I hear what you're saying, but I don't feel you though. Something is off, right? Now, fast forwarding back again to October 2024, Going as Jane Doe, the woman previously mentioned, filed a lawsuit accusing Combs and an unnamed male celebrity of essaying her at a party. Now, 2 months later, the plaintiff amended the suit to include Jay-Z's name as the male celebrity who also essayed her. According to the revised lawsuit, the woman alleged that she began to feel lightheaded after consuming a drink at the party and went to lie down in a bedroom. Shortly after, the plaintiff claimed both Diddy and Jay entered the room and allegedly began to remove her clothing and held her down, while Combs allegedly essayed her as an unidentified female celebrity watched. Now, Jay aggressively denied the allegations he described as heinous, and on December 8th, 2024, writing a statement that the victim's attorney, Tony Busby, was trying to blackmail him with the lawsuit. This lawsuit has definitely brought up Jay's past lawsuit, and many people online have said we should have taken the first one as a red flag for more to come. Did you know Beyonce fired her father as her manager? Well, if you didn't, now you do. Beyonce is a diva, no doubt, and a lot of choices she's made has been questionable to say the least, but some have raised some alarm bells because many critics have looked at them as red flags, this one being no exception. Beyonce fired her father, Matthew Knowles, as her manager back in 2011. Now, Beyonce's father has overseen her career since she first auditioned for gigs as a kid and a teenager. Now, while the singles mother Tina was her stylist, Matthew managed his daughter's whole solo career in years, and as a member of her R&B group Destiny's Child, he even actually started the original girls group, which he named Girls Time, when she was just 8 years old. Now, Beyonce explained her decision at the time, saying that she was only ending their business relationship and that she still loved and was grateful to him. She said, "I grew up watching both he and my mother manage and own their own businesses. They were hardworking entrepreneurs, and I will continue to follow in their footsteps." Her father was accused, though, of stealing money from Beyonce by Live Nation, which was revealed in court documents in 2011. Now, these allegations prompted her legal team to conduct an audit in October of 2010, which apparently concluded Knowles had taken funds. Knowles denied the allegations and has requested a judge to ask Live Nation the rationale for its claim. The 60-year-old has suggested that promoter was trying to win a larger share of Beyonce's tour revenue. Knowles said he was replaced with a former Live Nation executive. Live Nation have reportedly declined to comment on the issue, and he denied the accusations, and he actually took his daughter's former concert promoter to court, claiming Live Nation soured his relationship with Beyonce by making false statements about him. Matthew insisted this was just a business decision and unrelated to the family drama. He went on to say, "We mutually agreed to part ways in terms of me managing Beyonce, as my focus is in the investment of Music World's Entertainment's growing gospel and inspirational music division. Because of the success of these artists, my focus has to be on gospel now." Beyonce's relationship with her father is also explored in her 2016 album Lemonade. In the section titled Accountability, Beyonce questions potential power struggles she may have had with her father. She also has a song called Daddy Lessons on the album, in which she sings about being taught how to be hardworking or a hardworking young woman. Now, this whole incident caused many fans at the time to question the whole thing and wondered if this was a bad sign of Beyonce being too controlling, and it was labeled as a red flag, with one person saying, "Firing your father who has helped you skyrocket to stardom over accusations of theft is the biggest red flag I've ever seen in a long time. What would he need to steal for?" With another person saying, "Beyonce is an adult now and has had her father's opinions, and she has her own opinions now and the way she wants to do things. Her dad has always been controlling. This was a smart decision." Now, their relationship has been complicated, and he hasn't always been, perfect dad, father of the year, so many people have interpreted this in many different ways. But what are your guys' thoughts though? Beyonce's Ivy Park fashion line allegedly is produced in a sweatshop. This is a huge red flag because, well, unless you're unaware of how sweatshops operate, they're deeply inhumane and their practices are disgusting. Beyonce's much-hyped surprise collaboration with British clothing giant Topshop made headlines around the world when it launched. Topshop's website crashed as people rushed to purchase premium athleisure, with prices starting at $14 for sweatbands and going all the way up to $265 for a full-length color block bodysuit. Now, the clothing line was supposed to be a way to push a feel-good woman empowerment ethos and to de-emphasize perfectionism and to value strength over beauty, but the backlash was inevitable. A British tabloid newspaper named The Sun ran an expose describing the Sri Lankan garment workers making the range as sweatshop slaves, earning just 64 cents an hour. Now, reporters visited the site, and one sewing machine operator said that she was unable to survive on her basic wage of 18,500 rupees a month, which is about $126. The newspaper claimed average seamstresses earn about $7 a day and acknowledged that workers at the factory were still being paid above the legal minimum wage of 13,500 rupees a month. But what is being described by The Sun is that it looks like a severe case of exploitation bordering on slavery. story, the reporter highlighted particular concerns, including low pay and limits on the women's movements at night by locking them into their accommodation. Like, the workers reside on site and are subject to curfews, which is odd. A spokesperson for Ivy Park said, "Ivy Park has a rigorous ethical trading program. We are proud of our sustained efforts in terms of factory inspections and audits, and our teams worldwide work very closely with our suppliers and their factories to ensure compliance. We expect our suppliers to meet our code of conduct, and we support them in achieving these requirements." Beyonce hasn't directly spoken out, of course, about all of this, and it's caused a lot of concern from her fans. We are in 2024, girl. Time to start paying people better, am I right? A big red flag that has been brought up many times from Jay Z and Beyonce's past is their big age gap. When we think of Hollywood power couples, we think of Jay Z and Beyonce. In fact, the two have been together for so long at this point, it's like hard to remember a time they weren't. This leads to the question, though, of how long the two have actually been together and when exactly they started dating. Now, the current age difference between the two now would actually not raise any red flags because she's 43 and he's 55, but the red flag was drawn years ago when the two met when Beyonce was just 18, which was probably somewhere between 1999 and 2000. Now, Jay Z was 30 at the time, but Beyonce has spoken before about how the two stayed friends for a while before things turned romantic. She said in an interview with Oprah, "We were friends first for a year and a half before we went on any dates, and though the two would go on to marry, they actually waited until 2008. Not just because of their 12-year age difference, but because according to Beyonce, she told 17 magazine at the time, "I really don't believe that you will love the same thing at 20 as you do 30. So that was my rule. Before the age of 25, I would never get married. I feel like you have to get to know yourself, know what you want, spend some time by yourself, and be proud of who you are before you can share that with someone else." The power couple quickly began working together professionally, starting with Jay Z's 2002 track Bonnie and Clyde, followed by Beyonce's smash hit Crazy in Love. As suggested by the song title, it was inspired by Beyonce's deep affection for Jay Z. Their personal lives often influenced their music, becoming a reoccurring theme throughout their relationship. Now, however, they managed to keep their 2008 wedding ceremony completely private. Many fans have said they feel bad that Beyonce wasn't given a chance to date around and explore her options because she likely felt pressured into being with Jay, and because that's all she knows, that's why she stayed. Fans today have said that back in the day, age gaps were not talked about enough because they were so normalized, like not only in Hollywood but also just in society. And the reality, which might shock a lot of y'all, is that the age gap between Beyonce and Jay Z is the same age gap between Mr. Kelly and Aaliyah. But no one wants to talk about that, and we won't get into how Jay Z was initially going after Aaliyah. That's a story for another time. Now, the inconsistencies around the actual numbers have always been a hot topic though, because in 2007, in an interview with Charlie Rose, Jay Z said he met Beyonce 10 years ago, which would have meant 1997. But Beyonce said she was 18 when they first met and 19 when they first started dating. Beyonce was born September 4th, 1981, so this would actually put their first encounter in late 1999 or early 2000s. Now, many fans have come out and said that Jay and Bey are definitely lying, and she was definitely underage when he was first pursuing her, and they've been doing nothing but lying about it for years to protect their images. Many fans have said she was groomed, and in a popular video that's been watched millions of times, you see Beyonce standing next to Jay saying, "You taught me how to be a woman, you taught me how to be a leader, you taught me how to be a friend, you've given me so much in life." Many people said that he should not have taught you how to be a woman, and that video was like giving predatory vibes.
If you are wondering what Jay Z is even on public trial for right now, we will get into the details shortly, but basically he's being accused of unconsensually engaging with a young girl. As you might know, Rihanna was 2 years shy of 18 when she met Jay Z and signed a record deal with him, but she wasn't the young girl in question. However, she did make an odd comment in a 2005 interview with Tyra Banks that has people more freaked out than anything. Rihanna was telling the story of her record deal meeting. She recalled how intense it was, sharing that after presenting herself as an artist, Jay Z apparently told her the conditions for her to exit the room. According to Rihanna, he said, "There are two ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal signed, or through this window, and we're on the 29th floor. At the time, everybody laughed at this comment because at that point, Jay Z was a widely loved rapper. Why would anyone believe there was anything negative happening behind closed doors? He was just a talented guy ready and eager to sign the next big thing. However, Times have changed, and with all the recent allegations, the once innocent comments sound so much worse. Pair with it that the meeting to sign the deal allegedly lasted almost 12 hours. The approximate end time said to be about 3 a.m. Yeah, the internet is kicking up a storm. People are wondering why so much time was needed, what they could have done during that time. Did Jay Z force Rihanna into anything? Was she alone? Thankfully, this story has been told by both parties many times over, and it's been established that Rihanna wouldn't have been left alone with Jay Z. Guardians and lawyers were present. Now, the comment from the rapper hinting that he would throw her out a window should she not agree to sign, that might be a bit extreme, but it seems Rihanna wanted to sign the deal as much as Jay Z did, which is good. As for the length of the meeting, according to some comments Jay Z made in a 2005 interview with Sway Calloway, it sounded like they literally did everything in that time, which is why it took so long. The legal teams had to draft up a contract that both parties agreed to, which for 12 hours is honestly not that bad. In the same interview, he also made it very clear that him and his record company were pretty desperate to sign Rihanna, apparently reluctant to let her leave the building, probably so she wouldn't be off to get a better deal somewhere or back out. I mean, hopefully we've all heard Rihanna's music. I understand why they would want the star so bad, she is very talented. One Reddit user who claims to work in the entertainment industry shared their perspective on the length of the meeting, saying that it's easy for a meeting to get so long, writing that meetings turn into lunches, which turn into drinks, which turn into exchanging ideas, which turns into inviting more people to drink and develop ideas. You gotta hang because you miss the life-changing opportunities when you're not socializing. They clarified that they aren't trying to say that nothing happened, just that a 12-hour meeting is not that uncommon. But why are people so worked up about Jay Z right now? Why is this random Rihanna interview being picked apart? Well, as mentioned briefly at the start of this video, Jay Z has been recently accused of some pretty terrible things alongside Sean Diddy Combs. A lawsuit against Diddy was originally filed back in October. However, at the time of filing, only Diddy was named. The other celebrities in the suit were simply referred to as Celebrity A and B. The woman that filed the suit has remained anonymous, so she is known as Jane Doe during the proceedings. Jane Doe's lawsuit alleged that Diddy and an unnamed additional male celebrity, now revealed to be Jay Z, harmed Jane Doe inappropriately while another, still unnamed female celebrity watched. The plaintiff shared the events leading up to the moment. It was the night of the MTV VMAs in 2000. The girl had been trying to sneak into Radio City Music Hall but wasn't able to get in. After failing, she met Diddy's driver, who told her to come back after the show. When she did, he drove her to a large white house, in which upon entering, the plaintiff claims that she was presented with a non-disclosure agreement to sign. She claims that once inside, there was widespread use of substances, and when handed a beverage, they were also in there. Attempting to find somewhere safe to lay down, the plaintiff claims she entered an empty bedroom. Unfortunately, it wasn't long after she attempted to rest that she claimed the trio of celebrities entered the room too. It was then that the multiple transgressions occurred. Allegedly, the two men took turns where the female celebrity looked on. The events stopped when the plaintiff struck Diddy in the neck, and she was able to escape the house and return home, but the emotional damage was done. Diddy, and now Jay Z, continue to say they are innocent. This case is still ongoing, so there's no official verdict right now as to whether or not the details of the suit are true. However, there might be evidence that Jay Z was in fact at this party. Apparently, the Daily Mail obtained pictures from this night that included Jay Z at the party. People are left to wonder though, who was the female celebrity? Sure, she might not have physically harmed the plaintiff, however, she also allegedly just looked on while the horrible incident was happening, which is also a terrible thing to do. There are millions of theories online, but no concrete idea, just speculation. But it leaves people wondering why the female celebrity's name hasn't been released yet, and why Jay Z's name came so far after Diddy's. In some recent statements, Jay Z has given us some clues. He claims that before his name was revealed, his lawyer received a letter about the suit, described as a pre-litigation demand letter. What Jay Z referred to as an intent to blackmail him, the contents allegedly requested financial compensation. However, Jane Doe's legal representation, Tony Busby, was quick to deny that claim. Busby says that Jane Doe requested mediation and never sought financial gain. Busby responded to Jay Z's claims in an amended complaint. He essentially accused Jay Z of trying to bully or intimidate the plaintiff, those close to her and working with her, into silence. From this, this, we can draw a conclusion that maybe Jay Z's name was initially kept in the dark because they were trying to work things out in private, but everything went south, and that is why we're hearing about it now. In the event that the same steps were taken with Celebrity B, the female celebrity, as were with Jay Z, there's a chance everything was settled behind closed doors and we will never know. It's unclear if Jane Doe's legal team also would have done this with Diddy's lawyers in advance too, or if they would have just filed the suit, considering there were already so many open against Diddy. Jay Z is adamantly denying any wrongdoing and is making his own shocking request that Jane Doe reveals herself. The rapper wants to know who's accusing him, claiming that the accuser should not be allowed to tarnish his name while hiding her identity. His attorney called the situation a shakedown and said that if Jane Doe isn't revealed, it would deny Mr. Carter the fundamental right to confront his accuser while simultaneously enabling plaintiff and her counsel to conduct a trial by media. In a filing from early last week, Jay Z and his team called for a judge to order that Jane Doe reveal herself or the lawsuit gets dropped. However, Jane Doe and many of the other people that have filed anonymous suits against Diddy probably have a good reason to keep their name from the public. Tony Busby spoke on behalf of Jane Doe and the over 200 clients with claims against Diddy that his firm is representing, explaining why it's so important for the secrecy on their side. He claimed that about 80% of those he's representing have told the firm that Diddy had warned them to keep quiet or something bad would happen to them and or their loved ones. Who knows if he meant it, but better safe than sorry. Keeping your name out of the headlines also ensures that you don't get hounded by the press day in and day out. Busby spoke to a federal judge last Sunday where he stressed how important it was that his clients remain anonymous for protection's sake. Jay Z released a statement from the Roc Nation social media accounts in which he accused Busby of exploiting people for personal gain. Busby shared that he expected Jay Z to attempt to unmask Jane Doe and would be filing a response when the time was right, which will probably be soon. In addition to that, he shared that he was sued in November by an unnamed celebrity under the name John Doe, but Busby believes it was Jay Z. Technically, if you look at the timeline, there is potential that Jay Z was the John Doe. Since the first filing with Diddy's name happened in October, the timeline would line up for Busby to have enough time to contact Jay Z's lawyer and then for them to sue in response. Of course, this is all alleged, as Busby doesn't even know who it really was, so I certainly won't pretend to know either. Busby did connect this case to the current one though, saying he sued me under a pseudonym but files a motion to reveal the victim. Despite the high-profile nature of this case, Jay Z is still out making appearances. He was spotted on Disney's Mufasa red carpet. The live-action prequel to The Lion King stars Beyonce and their daughter Blue Ivy, so that is why he was there, to support his family. It's his daughter's big day. However, considering the circumstances, many people have shared online that they think he should have maybe sat this one out. One ex-user said that the rapper had a lot of nerve showing up like that, and another agreed with the response, saying he had no shame.